Hey, how's it going, guys? So my name is Roberto Guido. I am one of those Cocos Locos, and in this video we're going to go over the deep space sound pack that we created and kind of just talk about some ideas that you can do for your projects with this sound pack, as well as the overall reason why we created it. Let's do it. Houston, we have liftoff. So for those of you who don't know, my wife and I run a photography and videography business. We've been doing it full time for about 2 years now. And one thing that is super important in almost all our projects, specifically for videos, is the sounds and the music and what we use to kind of cut to. So for me specifically as a videographer, I always think in visuals. As far as when I'm filming, I'm like, okay, this is gonna look good like this is gonna look good with this sound specifically. But what really makes a video very powerful is the actual sounds that are used, aka like the music, but also just kind of like those little different type of beats that kind of like go within the actual song itself that actually makes the video. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you a quick little clip of our editing reel for 2019 and just kind of show you the first beginning part to just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So as you can see right there at the very beginning, when we have the actual video starting off, we have our company name, which is Dos Cocos Locos Productions. And what we wanted to do is we just wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So we actually cut to the actual beat of the sound. So whenever there's a do 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 do, our name kind of copies itself. So it's a very simple technique, but it kind of like shows you like, oh, what's going on, and then go straight to 2019 editing reel. So we literally captured the people's attention within 3 seconds, and we're like, what we're establishing is we are the Dos Cocos Locos Productions, and what you're gonna see right now is our 2019 editing reel. And from there, the video that I created cuts to the beat of the song, and every time it like switches over to like a next cut, we have a whole new video showing you what we do. So this is basically just kind of showing you how video and audio kind of go hand in hand, and when you can combine them together, it creates a very emotional, a strong emotional response that is able to be memorable whenever a viewer is watching. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the actual sound pack so you can kind of see some of the sounds and listen to some of the sounds that are available within it. So here we have our deep space sound pack. And what you're gonna get is 38 different sounds specifically, and I actually took the time and created 4 combined sounds from the actual sound pack itself, so that way you don't have to spend time to create your own, but just kind of some sounds that I thought were kind of cool when they were combined, and that way you can just literally drag and drop and just use it right off the bat. So that but what I want to show you is that you can actually create new sounds using a mixture of these sounds. So before we do that, let's just kind of listen to a few of them. So here we have the bot boot up. So it's really cool. It has a little glitchy sound at the very beginning, and it's like a little, almost like a Game Boy style sounds, like, all right, starting up. And then we're gonna just check this one out. This is radio transmission. So kind of give you that old staticky signal coming in from a radio. And we also have other transmission sounds. So this is a space transmission sound. All right, so you're kind of getting like a signal from space almost. And most often than not, whenever I listen to a song, I can already start seeing the video playing for a specific edit, whether it be for a client or just something for fun. Like sounds are super important and super powerful because they literally paint pictures in your head. I like this one. This one's literally just called Death. So when I created this one, I'm like, yo, this sounds so intense. So in this sound pack specifically, you're gonna have different sounds as far as very short ones, but also longer ones. So I wanted to create a few long ones that you can use, so that way you can just have that in the background of your whole video, so that way you don't have to worry about needing to create longer sounds. So I already took the time to do that for you. So this is called Death. So So like if you were to hear that, just like if you're sitting at home right now during quarantine and you just hear that sound, you're like, all right, something crazy is about to happen, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but like that's gonna be pretty crazy. So yeah, so that's just it. And as you can see, it's like 2 minutes. So I have a couple different sounds that are longer, so that way you can just put it in the background of your noise and then add on top of that. All right, so here is actually the current project I have for our sound promo. I'm actually making the tutorial before I have the promo done, so it's kind of interesting to kind of see the building blocks of it. But I'll just click the tilde button for those of you who use Premiere Pro. That just kind of expands the whole workspace there, so I'm able to kind of zoom in, and as you can see, I literally just dragged and dropped different sounds from my sound pack and I put it into the timeline, and then I stacked them up to create newer sounds, to have them kind of work along each other. And it's kind of cool because I never really did this before, this specific type of project, because I normally do all this craziness with like my videos, but for the audio it's not really this intense. But it's kind of like I'm working like a sound designer. I'm not nowhere near that level yet, but it's kind of cool to kind of see the beginning process of it. So as you can see, these longer ones are like the sound beds for the length of the promo that once it's created, that's what it's going to be. And you can kind of see how they kind of all just start popping in throughout. So I was going for a deep space type of vibe, like you're going in space into the unknown. It's a little scary, but it's also kind of like you're getting all these signals coming in. So that's what I was going for. I also took the time to record myself talking into the microphone and then switching it up so I sound almost like a space astronaut. So that's me literally in the countdown part.
In T-5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Houston, we have liftoff.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know, like once you're like, when you're doing it, you're like, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but once you like put it all together and you start listening to it, you're like, whoa, that sounds pretty intense. So yeah, so that's kind of what we were doing here as far as creating the promo. As I said, it's still not completely done yet, but that's just kind of the overall process. So you click tilde to get out of this and get back to your regular workflow. All right, so for the last part of this video, I'm actually going to give you some tips as far as what you can do to manipulate and transform the audio files that I created to make your own audio files as well, if that makes sense. So one thing that I kind of like doing a lot that I really didn't think about doing until relatively recently was actually slowing down or speeding up audio files and even reversing them to make a completely new sound. So to kind of give you an example of that, I'll do this one. So this is bot booting down. All right, so it's kind of like almost like a TV that's just turning off. So you're gonna click and drag this over, and I'll do it by itself so that way we can just focus on this audio file. So I'm just clicking the down button to automatically move my time header to the beginning of the audio file. I click space. All right, so there we go. So if I wanted to, I could right click on speed and duration, and I can actually make this a lot slower. So I can slow down the speed to like 50%. And one thing about audio files that you can't really do with video files is you can literally just slow it or speed it up as fast as possible, and it really doesn't, it affects it a lot, but there's no real negative effects on it. So if you shoot a video in 60 frames per second, the maximum slowdown rate is 40%. After that, if you try to slow it down to 20%, it starts to get choppy. But with audio, you really can't tell whether or not it's getting choppy or not, and you don't know if that was the original sound that it was supposed to sound like. So you can really kind of get away with it and get super creative. So I slowed it down to 50%. Yo, I kind of like that a lot. So literally you can do that, and you can even, if you wanted to get super crazy with it, you can like slow it down to like 20%. I don't even know how this is gonna sound. So you kind of go back to the beginning. Ooh. So that almost sounds like a jet, almost like completely turning off. So you can mix that up. You can actually reverse it. So right click speed, reverse the speed. And I'm gonna just kind of go back to like maybe 50%. and then we do that. So it just kind of gives you a whole different sound in itself. So there, from just those two switches, I just changed it to 50% and I reversed the actual audio clip. I have a whole new sound now. And then I can use that and mix it up with all my other sounds and just continue to create sounds. So literally you can just completely create new sounds just from the sounds that I already took the time to create. So literally it's almost endless. And then just one last final tip, in Premiere Pro you actually have the option to add audio effects onto sound files. So I'll just show you one. If you wanted to add like a little bit of reverb, you add, let's do studio reverb, you go to effect controls. So I'm just gonna play it real quick, so it's just gonna render it. So it kind of has like a little bit of that like echoey sound. You can edit it, you can make it even crazier. So let's say you wanted it kind of sounding like a great hall. So I like to use the presets that are already in Premiere Pro because they kind of just help me go faster, but you can use whatever you got. So it's just playing it. Yeah, so as you can see now, we used that same sound and we made another sound on top of the sound that we already created. So you literally can just continue to mess around with all these audio effects and just continue to create sounds from the sounds that you already have in this pack. So literally I just hope that you find this video helpful and that it kind of shows you that you can really do a lot with it. I hope that you use it for your projects and basically just use it for whatever that you're working on. So we are also going to be creating visuals that go along with this sound pack very well, so make sure to keep an eye out for that, and in the meantime keep being awesome. All right, peace.